Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. Now, before we start, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to checking this out. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, it helps a lot, and again, thank you. Have an incredible day or evening, depending where you are, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe. Welcome, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, we have on the show the incredible, amazing superstar, Jim. Jim, how are you today, man?
Good. How are you? Thank you.
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, what better way to continue on an epic day with an epic guest? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. I love it. Now, before we start, I want to thank those who are watching this. Thank you so much. If this is your first episode, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, follow. It helps a lot. If this is your fifth one, sixth one, make sure to keep watching them. And just share them. And also, if it is your birthday, happy birthday. If you're having and it's not, keep having an incredible day or evening, depending where you are. Now, without furthermore, for those who don't know who is incredible, amazing, badass Jim, please tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Jim Ordolis. I'm located in Toronto, Canada. I'm an actor and I'm also a visual artist. I have many years of experience. I also do sequential art. I publish my own magazines and I do a lot of other things that are creative. I write, I play music, and I do a lot of things. Pretty much anything that's creative.
That's amazing. So you're basically doing everything here. I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, so let's go back in time here for a little bit and tell me where this passion for the whole creative stuff triggered. Like, when did it happen?
Well, in terms of art, I started when I was very young, probably the age of 8 or 9 years old. My mother kind of realized, hey, he has a gift for art, and then I kind of just pursued it from there, and then just continued, had a passion for that my whole life, and it's something that's it's a lifelong thing for me, and it's something that I accept that that's what I do and that's what that's who I am. It's something I always had a passion for. In terms of acting, it started later on. I mean, I've always had a love for acting. I was doing acting when I was in public school. I did plays for like children's plays like the Pinocchio and the King and I and stuff
Mm.
like that. And in grade 8, I wrote and directed and starred in a comedy parody of Superman. And later on, in my 20s, when I was in art college, my sister's best friend was an aspiring actress and a model, and she would come by and tell us stories about her experiences and stuff like that. And I was really interested in, wanting to try that out. And she said one day, "Hey Jim, why don't you uh, try out some background?" And she gave me the contact for her agent, and so I went out, and I remember, I've told this story before, but I remember her agent. She was this really lovely lady. I forgot her name, but she had these dark rimmed glasses like these, and she smoked a cigar. And she goes to me, Jim, I can get you a part in films. You can play gangsters in the movies. And I,
Yeah.
okay, sure. I'm thinking like I'm a fine artist, I'm gonna play gangsters. And I thought, okay, why not? So I did it, and I started doing background, and I did it for a while, and then slowly, like, I wanted to keep pursuing my art, and so I put the acting on the side for a while, and then later I came back and I said, hey, I gotta finish this. So I decided if I'm gonna do it this time, I'm gonna do it in a serious fashion, and started signing up for workshops and taking courses and just going from there, and here I am now.
Wow, such a journey. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Wow, and I do believe that whenever you are on the right path, basically like life will be throwing you stuff here and there so you can continue on the road. You know what I mean? And if you're
sure.
not on the right path, suddenly you face up a wall and you don't know like exactly where to go. So I find that pretty interesting that for example with some of the actors that I've interviewed, and musicians as well, the fact that they discovered it and it's like life was meant to be for them to follow that path, and it's incredible how things just start to roll up here and there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Wow. Now, once you started, your whole career here, tell me what were some of the challenges that you started to see when you were, recently making those first steps?
Sure. In terms of my acting career, the really big challenges were learning your craft.
Yeah.
And I think really it's all about taking as many courses as you possibly could and getting as much experience as you can. And the idea is to kind of like um, get as much experience on set so that you can put together a demo reel that
Hmm.
you can take to an agent and then get signed on with an agent, right? And then it's still, I'm still continuing to take classes like right now. I'm still taking classes and still trying to get, more experience. And every new thing is a continuation of that. And so those are the challenges at the beginning. It's like starting out and how do I start? Where do I begin? And the best way is to, just start taking courses, start doing things, just start acting. If you want to act, you have to just start acting and just like do anything, volunteer, do web series, do like your act for your friends, do community theater, do anything just to get the experience, right? So
Yeah.
those are the challenges, knowing like where you want to go. And if we're going to talk parallel about the art too, it's the same thing with art, like knowing exactly like where do I go with this once I have this talent? How do I
Yeah.
use it? What do I do with it? Where do I get work? And you know, do I go to galleries? Do I do commercial art? What do I do? Do I do graphics? What do I do? Right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing. You have to kind of figure all that out. Those are the challenges and making the right choices too, right? You don't know because you're just like it's like you said, it's a journey. You're
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Of
trying to.
course. Yeah, and of course that is understandable that when you are starting out, along the way you're gonna make mistakes. Let's put it that way. But it's part of the whole experience for you to kind of learn from them. And at the same time, I do believe that during those first missteps or mistakes, let's say, you will start to understand more the whole crafting side. But at the same time, you start to develop tough skin because at the end of the day, it is a tough business, right?
Oh, absolutely. And especially even in my art career. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
early on so many opportunities that I look back at them now and I go, wow, like why didn't I do that? Or,
Yeah.
but it's like you said, it's all a learning process and you know, that's how it is. That's how you become who you are. You learn from these mistakes and that's what it's all about. And it's
Absolutely.
a process.
Absolutely. Now, moving on here a little bit and focusing on your acting career, tell me how you prepare a character. Now, of course, that I understand that depends on the role, but what is your initial approach before start diving into this process?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you probably heard this a lot, but it's I start off with like comprehension of the script, right,
Hmm.
and using various methods to do that. And I have some new ones now that I'm using that are really good. And then starting to break down the script and gleaning out the character. And then I
Yeah.
start writing. I create a background for the character, like uh, does he what does he do? Who is he? Who are his parents?
Yeah.
What does he think? What are his politics? Was he in the military? Was he not in the military? What does he eat? What music does he listen to? How do the other characters feel about him in the script? And how
Yeah.
does he feel about the other characters? So you create a well rounded kind of character that you know how to behave in any situation that you can put him in. But at the same time, you also want to have a part of yourself coming through in that character as well. Like you don't want it to be like totally cookie cutter, but you want and that all depends on actors do all this differently, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I think my actual personality just comes out naturally in the character. But you want to be true to the character at the same time, as opposed to, just playing yourself in different situations. So you find that balance, where you have a bit of both. I think
Yeah.
that's you're in the right synergy. When you got that going, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And also what I have discovered throughout this whole podcast is that there is no no exact manual of how to create a character, that everyone has like their own thing and it works. And I find that pretty interesting that well, of course everyone is different here, but like through the different type of personality everyone is, they will develop like different process here and there, and I find that pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And tell me, like, along the way, has it ever happened to you that during this process you got stuck? Now, if that happened, tell me how you managed to overcome that situation and to continue on this creation process.
Um, yeah, I like occasionally that happens. You have to try to kind of break through with whatever means you have at your disposal. Sometimes it's working with another actor, calling a friend, and asking if you can work on a scene with them, or work with a character, or work with an acting coach. You know, one of my coaches, I can call up and book some time, and then work on the character with them, and kind of work through that.
Hmm.
That's usually how it's done.
Okay. And along your acting career, tell me, has it ever happened to you also that on your daily life, like one day, like doing something, parts of a specific character comes back to life, and you're like, oh, like what just happened here?
um, Maybe occasionally. I haven't really noticed that a lot,
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I haven't seen it yet that much, so but I would say it's totally possible. Yeah, it all
Yeah.
depends how immersed you are in your character, and then it does take a while when you finish a role, and you kind of like you kind of say like you have like a little ritual where you say goodbye to that character, and
Mm.
then that's it. In your mind, you're kind of like, oh, it's a wrap on this person, and that's it, and you move on and you let it go. But I guess there is the possibility that something could stay so much in your
Yeah.
mind that become that character.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And tell me how you managed to, for example, you're gonna play this character with a very, yeah, let's say deep, like a very deep emotional scene. So how you prepare yourself to embrace that situation, knowing that perhaps that scene or like that role is something that you have never lived before.
yeah, that's interesting. I mean, recently I just did an indie film that's coming out. It's called Beneath. Uh, no, it's not underneath, beyond the threshold.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm mixing up the title. But in that particular example, I play a character who's a serial killer.
Okay.
And so this is something that I have no knowledge of that, and doing these very like emotional kind of scenes. So you just try to, through your character work, to kind of understand
Hmm.
how this character thinks. And you have to realize, even though you're playing a villain, they don't see themselves as a villain, right? They see themselves as being right in what they're doing. So you have to kind of see it from that perspective and get into their mindset, right? And sometimes it depends. I believe that using a substitution helps, like if you have to like go back into certain memories of your personal memories and stuff. I don't like doing that too much, but that can help you get to where you have to be in a particular scene. It depends on
Yeah.
how emotional the scene was. Like there was one scene in that film where I was basically bathing in like blood. I had like this blood that I was like pouring all over my body and stuff like that. And it was like completely like horrific, right? And it's nothing I've ever experienced before, but it was
Yeah,
just
of course.
trying to get into it. And also, using your environment and your imagination too, trying to like imagine yourself in that situation helps a lot too. So,
Yeah, and also I mean the fact that that along that process it can take you sometimes to a very vulnerable and deep places as well, right?
yeah, definitely. Well, that's good. And when it does that, actually, that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's you
that's
get.
true. And also like as as the audience once we're watching this, we want that too. We want that like that extra mile when they are playing this character. We want that whole vibe they're creating it because like once you manage to make that happen, it's incredible how sometimes you will cheer up for the character, regardless if it is a villain or not. That you will actually care about it. So I find that pretty fascinating when when you're watching something and you feel, like real emotions towards a character you're watching. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's gold. I think that's why you need to let some of your own personality come out too, and that's when those moments, it's those moments that you don't expect, and then they just come out, and those are the most authentic moments, and that's what I love. It's like the interacting with another actor and the banter, and then and things just happen, things you don't plan, because you
Yeah.
can't plan, you can't, it's it's not something you can just take and recreate somewhere else. It's not like there's this authentic uh, vibe, that you get, and when those moments happen, it's lovely to watch. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, moving on here a little bit, tell me along during your whole acting career, what has been some of the, yeah, let's say funniest auditions you ever had? Like that audition that perhaps at that moment wasn't quite fun, but right now, it's a fun story to tell here and there.
Well, it's funny. That's a good question. I can't really say funny, but I can say scary if you want.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear
Uh,
it.
I think that was one of the earliest auditions I did was for a web series, and I studied really hard for this character, and then I went in, and as soon as I got on my mark, I I drew a complete blank. Like a hard drive crashing on your
Hmm.
computer where you just see like a black like
Yeah.
that, and I completely lost the entire memory of that script. And I remember like I kept like I'm going, oh my god, I completely forgot all my lines, everything, and I kept saying like line, and then apologizing. But it was a scary experience. But the people that I auditioned for, they were very nice. And then in fact later on they asked me to audition for something else, and they ended up giving me a small part in another web series.
Okay.
So they were really nice. So that's something that happens, but I mean that it's only really happened once, and that was
Yeah.
the scariest thing to like go in there and completely as soon as I got in there it was just completely blank,
Mm.
you know, like nothing at all. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that it happens to all of us that whenever we're doing something that we actually care and love, that one day just out of the blue you will just forget what you were about to say or things like that. And yeah, I can understand. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
happened too much.
Yeah. Now tell me, like, let's say, like, what is the goal that you try to achieve? So what I'm trying to say here is that once you're, let's say that you're about to play this character, so what is the goal you want to achieve, for us, the audience, to check or even care about this character you're playing?
Well, it's to bring something unique and original to the character, and authenticity, right? Believability. I want the audience to believe that what I'm doing is actually real, but at the same time also bring something original to it, and something of myself, something of my own personality to come out as well. I think if
Yeah.
I can accomplish that, I'm happy.
Yeah. Now, let's say that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now, of course, I don't have any experience at all. So, based on what you know, what do you think would be important for me to know? Kind of a heads up before jumping in and start this career.
Well, that's a good question too. And what I would say is start as soon as possible. Don't put it off. Don't say, okay, I'll do this when I finish this, or when I've accomplished this, then I'll do this, then I'll do that. If you want to do it now, and get as much experience as you can, right? Do if you want to act, just start acting. Just do it. Do volunteer, do stuff with your friends, just
Mhm.
do it, right? Like don't wait, don't put it off, and do it as soon as you can, because the more you wait, the more difficult it becomes. So yeah,
Yeah,
that would be my advice for anybody.
there you go. I like it. Now, let's say that for your birthday, you get a time machine. But here's the catch: you can only travel once and to meet the 13-year-old version of yourself. So, what would
Yeah,
you say to that little you?
yeah, that's a good question too. So I think when I was 13 years old, things were difficult for me. So I would love to be able to do that. If I could go back and meet like the 13-year-old version of me, I think what I would say to them is that, you know what, it's okay, and don't worry, everything's gonna turn out fine. So you're gonna be
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Now, also, let's say that one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, you name it. They call you and they tell you this idea, which goes that they're gonna make a film in which all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're all gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But here's the thing: the film needs a name. So how would you call it?
Okay, because a lot of the characters that I played so far are kind of villains or
Mm-hmm.
villainish. Uh, what I would do is I would call this film "And Then There Were None," which is based on a book by Agatha Christie,
Okay.
which is history, and it basically um, it's about a group of people who get invited to a remote island, and then they're all killed off one by one, right? And then so and I think the killer would be probably one of my characters, Neptune from the creature from Cannibal Creek, who was a cannibal. He would end up being the killer in this movie. So that's what I would call it.
Okay. Okay. Sounds deep. Okay. Now, also, if you could describe your career but on a drink, how would you call it and what would it have?
Oh yeah. Set the new year on fire. It's a
Okay.
cocktail. Yeah, have you heard of it? Yeah,
I
it's a
think I think once I heard it, but not. I mean, the name sounds familiar though.
yeah, it's a cocktail with scotch and lime juice and syrup and stuff like that. Yeah, just something
Okay.
motivational.
Yeah, like something with a punch. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now,
I don't
like what? Huh?
I don't really drink that much, but yeah, I do like
Yeah, but
scotch.
like every now and then, drink here and there comes comes okay. So okay. I mean, not that I'm supporting drinking. No, no, no. Just saying. Absolutely. Now, like what motivates you? We all have those days that we just want to quit. It happens to all of us, regardless on what we do. So my question here is how you manage to silence those toxic voices, let's say, and to be back again creating and on this journey that you have been in for so many years now.
I think the important thing is to realize that these voices that you hear, that negative voice, that's not you,
Yeah.
that's mine, but you're not your mind. So you have to kind of like sit back and
Mm,
kind of like, realize that, this is not really who I am, right? And trying to ignore that. And you will realize that when you start ignoring that voice, it'll stop,
yeah.
right? And then you just have to keep going. And you just have to realize that that's not me. That's not who I am. That's just that voice that chatters in your mind that, it's there to help protect you, when you're in danger, and it'll always do that. So try to ignore that. And I remember even when I was younger, when I was pursuing my art career, I had that a lot. I would have that voice say to me like, you stink, you can't draw, you're no good, like, and it took a long time to just to figure that out. But I did, and
No.
I try to let it not not affect me at all. I mean, there's different things you can do. You can try, there's meditation or a positive affirmation, whatever works. There's things you can do, but you have to kind of try that. I think that's one of the keys to success, to be able to kind of not let that control you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and also like at the end, you need to, as you mentioned, you need to kind of find your own thing. For example, with this question, what I have discovered also with some of the people that I've interviewed, everyone has like their own thing. Like their own their approach on how to kind of deal with that. And that's fine. And I think also when you're feeling those moments, you need to also discover your own like how you are able to get back up. Because if you try to copy somebody else perhaps it works, but at the end, it's not your answer to it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you trying to really make that change. So
Yeah, you have to find your own way of how to do it. But it's good. We live in a time now where there's a lot of things out there that can help you
yeah,
deal with.
that's true. That's true. And like my last question here is, what can we expect from you in the future? Hit it.
Okay, so you're gonna see a lot more film work from me. I have a new film that's coming out. It's I can't really say the title. It's an untitled dinosaur project that involves the paranormal, and I play
Okay.
a psychic character in it who helps the lead character. solve a mystery. It's directed by John Migliori, who also did he did the film I mentioned, Creature from Cannibal Creek, and Ouija
Yeah.
Shark 2, which I was in, and it's been completed and it's coming out soon through Wild Eye Releasing. It will be available on DVD and also through different streaming platforms. Um, right now, I'm auditioning for a bunch of stuff, so you hopefully you'll see me in some other things. There's Underneath Beyond the Threshold
Yeah.
is another indie horror film that's coming out. It's an anthology film directed by John Nichol. It's going to be fantastic. I play in the first chapter, play a character called the Hate Man, who is a serial killer, and it's a pretty crazy, wild thing. So I'm really looking forward to that. It involves vampires, serial killers, all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's going
Yeah.
to be a lot of fun. So hopefully, yeah, those two projects are coming out soon. I have a lot of different art projects. I have some illustration stuff that hopefully is coming out this year, and some comic book projects. So hopefully, if you like my acting, you can look into that as well.
There you go. I mean, what can I say? It's incredible what you do, but also the fact that you have been in for so many years now and you're still creating. You haven't lost like the hunger to it. You want to keep creating, keep making happen, keep searching for more, and that's incredible because it also shows that that everything is it's possible. I do think that sometimes whenever we want to start, for example, acting, music, you will perhaps get a little bit discouraged because of the whole thing of the whole thing that the message will be telling you that you need to go to Hollywood, or you need to go to New York, Broadway, things like that. But the fact that you're making it happen in Toronto and you are actually get job done and you have been in for so many years now, I mean it's incredible. And at the same time, it's the message here that it is possible. You can actually make a living of it, and here you are. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I do want to thank those who watch this. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Also, if those are listening as well, this episode is about to be over. So in the description below, you're gonna find Jim's social media. Let's make him viral. Hashtag Team Jim because he's incredible. He's amazing. He's a total badass. We all know that. And again, Jim, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep
No
creating,
problem.
keep inspiring, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
All right.